All right, I'm here with a look at my more recent game pickups, what I've been playing lately. Uh, I thought 2022 was a pretty underwhelming year as far as releases have gone. I feel like this first part of 2023 is already better than like most of 2022. And it doesn't seem to be letting up anytime soon. A lot of great stuff coming out soon. Like a Dragon, Ishin, Wild Hearts. February's going to be pretty stacked. And then March has Resident Evil 4 Remake, which cannot wait for that. That's going to be great. I'm trying to think what else. Hog Leg, uh, which I don't think I'm going to play because I don't know anything about Harry Potter, but I know a lot of people looking forward to that one. So a lot of big stuff coming out, this year. And we've already had some good releases. I've been probably playing the two most notable releases of January 2023, and I've been enjoying them quite a bit. So I'm going to jump into the first one that came out January 20th of 2023, and that is, of course, Fire Emblem Engage. I'm going to try to make sure this is a little bit more straight. Also, I want to give a shout out. I'm drinking a nice Diet Summit Cola, by the way. If you know, you know. If you know about the quality of Diet Summit Cola, leave a comment down in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. But yeah, Fire Emblem Engage, as far as that goes. I've been really enjoying this game. So, Three Houses obviously changed up the Fire Emblem formula quite a bit and kind of had the social aspects and everything, and a more in-depth story. That game was partially developed by Koei Tecmo's strategy RPG team, and this one is entirely intelligent systems, to my knowledge. I know there was rumors that Gust over from Koei Tecmo was also working on it, but I don't think that turned out to be true. And I think this game is really solid. In some ways, it's a bit of a step down from Three Houses. So I like the formula of Three Houses, but I don't think every Fire Emblem game needs to have that that formula of the more social aspects and the school and everything. So I'm perfectly fine with the fact that they went back to a more traditional Fire Emblem that we would have seen in maybe something like Awakening or Fates. And I think the biggest problem, the biggest step down, before I talk about the many positives of this game, because I think this game's great, is just the story. It was a pretty in depth story in Three Houses, and now this game's kind of feels like I don't even know, just really kind of generic. Like, well, it's whatever. I won't remember anything about this story in like probably 3 months, but um, it's just kind of whatever, like almost like I don't know, Transformers cartoon or something, where it's just like, I don't know, things are happening, I guess. I like the idea of the different, bringing back the classic Fire Emblem characters in the different emblem rings and stuff. I think that's an interesting formula. Having their powers and equipping them to different party members. I think that's a really cool idea. I think it could have gone into weird, like, stupid fan service for the sake of fan service stuff, but it never gets to that, I don't think, at least. I think it's just kind of a cool idea and kind of a cool way to implement kind of some of that extra abilities and stuff. But yeah, like I said, the main downfall for this one is I think the story's just kind of whatever. It's not bad, but it's not exactly the most interesting. It's completely serviceable. But the many positives, first of all, I want to say the Switch in 2023. 2022 was a year for the Switch in which it was starting to really get long in the tooth. It was really starting to show its age. Even something that looked good, like Xenoblade Chronicles 3, was at like running at like 480p sometimes. And I don't know, that's just rough. And we had the Pokemon games, which I don't even know what they were doing with that. That's just a travesty. But we just were kind of seeing the Switch as like, I don't know if it was just, I think it might be a COVID thing where a lot of games got kind of screwed up in their development cycles, and then the first thing to get cut for release was some visual polish, because there were some games looking kind of crusty coming out on this thing. But this game is a Switch game that looks like just a real video game. The character models have anti-aliasing. It's at like it's at 1080p. I think it's only 30 frames, but that doesn't really matter for a strategy game. Like, it's not exactly a high-paced action type game. But it looks like a good, normal video game, and not like, oof, I'm looking at a stinky Switch game, like a real crusty old game. which I think is important because it felt like there was this thing going on where like 2019, 2018, 2017 Switch games were looking pretty good, and then 2020 came around and Switch games, started not looking very good, and then 2021, 2022, Switch games were like, whoa, what's going on here? I feel like we're regressing, and it must be just that dev cycle going through with lack of polish or something, but I feel like we're back. This game looks perfectly good. It looks like a normal, like what you'd expect anime style game. No complaints there. I really like the gameplay. The gameplay loop in Fire Emblem's always great. You have the battles and stuff. You have the side content. There's side quests, and then there's also the little skirmishes and little like battles you can do to level up. I really like the kind of mix of that. I like the social aspects that are in the classic Fire Emblems, not this super school life social aspects, almost Persona style social aspects, but the kind of bonding aspects and everything I think are interesting. And in this game, you have like a little hub area, which is nice instead of it being mostly menu based like the 3DS games may have been. This game has like a more hub based area, which is I like that. I appreciate that. It's fun. There's some little things to do there, some leveling and stuff that you can do there, which I really like a lot. But yeah, I really liked this game. I'm still playing it. I haven't finished it yet. I took a break on it to play the next game that we'll talk about, and I finished that one. But I really like this game a lot. I feel like it kind of re-sparked my hope in the Switch. Like I was kind of writing it off of like, hey, we need a new Switch. But then I played this, and I'm like, hey, we can still get a lot out of that little, tablet with tech from the Obama era. It's essentially a $200 tablet with tech from like 2015, 2016, if it came out in early 2017. So it's not exactly cutting edge by any means, but it can still pump out something that looks like this, and I think that's great. And yeah, I'm perfectly happy with this game. I really liked it. I did an unboxing of the Divine Edition Special Edition, so if you want to check that out, be my guest. That's unboxing over on my channel. But yeah, really solid game. Really great start to Nintendo's 2023 for the Switch. I feel like this is just a great January game. You get this big, meaty strategy JRPG. There wasn't a whole lot at this point in January. It didn't start heating up till the end of the month. And also, if you're a Nintendo only player, you really don't have too much in the coming months. A remaster of a Kirby game and whatever, port of a Kirby game. So not too much in the coming months. So this is a good game if you're only playing on Nintendo or mostly playing on Nintendo to kind of dive in during those early months. So good game. And it was on my Fantasy Critic draft. If you hadn't seen that video, it's on my draft. So got me some points there. Not as many as I would have thought, but got me some points there. Can't complain. So I would recommend that one entirely. Especially if you're new to the Fire Emblem series. I feel like it's a good starting point for that. There's some decent challenge in it, but it's still, pretty accessible. So obviously the other big game of this month is Dead Space. So I not gonna, no gamer stolen valor here. I didn't play Dead Space until last year. I played it in October on the Xbox One backwards compatible. I played the 360 version, and I liked it. I thought it was a well-designed game. It had some kind of annoying parts that were kind of a pain. There were some weird kind of things that they tried that didn't exactly work. But this remake is really interesting because EA Motive, I didn't really have a lot of faith in just because, like, if you look at their track record before this game, they developed the single player for Star Wars Battlefront 2, which was by all means bad. By pretty much every opinion that it was bad. And they developed, what was that? I think they developed something else, but they developed the Star Wars like flight game for PS4. What was I forget what that? Star Wars Squadron maybe. And I heard that was fine, but like I don't know, you one of the cult classic horror games coming over to this studio that's kind of unproven for the most part, a little bit of a risk. And I'm going to be honest, Callisto Protocol is going to probably come up a little bit because that just came out in December and is, essentially a spiritual successor to Dead Space. And if you would have told me that Callisto Protocol's reviews would be middling, I liked that game a lot, but a lot of people didn't, and that this game's would be really, really high, I probably wouldn't have believed you. But this is very clearly the better game. I'm not trying to say that, but it's just interesting. They did a great job with this. This is an excellent remake of a really great game. The game's just really well designed. It's a really well designed game. You got this great um, just setting and great location on the ship, and it is just feels good to play. I like the combat. No pun intended, but it's a very visceral combat. It feels really good. The weapons that you can have feel great and are really fun and like diverse set of like different things. Like you have your you have your four D-pad buttons that you can set to your weapons, and I feel like every single one I had set was like a diverse kind of weapon that was like unique to had its own unique like strengths and weaknesses, which I think is great. It wasn't like I had like, all right, these are two guns and this is two snipers. It's like one of these things is a little chainsaw blade popping out, and one of these is just a regular gun, and one of these is an assault rifle, and one of them's a big force gun or a line, the line gun or whatever. So this is a really well designed game, and I think this remake is so the original game looks really great. I mean, it's a 2008 game, but I played it on the Xbox One, and it might get upscaled a little bit there, and it looks fantastic still. But this game really looks nice. They do a lot of really cool stuff with lighting, which I think is really important. And I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, graphics don't matter. Graphics don't matter." And I'm with it the most part, as long as they're not like heinous to look at. I'm pretty much in on it. But I really feel like horror games, and I know there's like low poly horror and like kind of analog horror type games that don't go for that. But I feel like horror games really benefit from that, um, realism, and I think it gets them a lot scarier and a lot more interesting to explore. And survival horror has become one of my favorite genres just because I really like the exploration in these games. I just think it's fun, and I really like exploring these like environments, and the realism really helps with that. So I really appreciate that a lot. But I gotta say, as far as a survival horror game is, this game's a lot of fun and it's really good. It's not scary like at all. I don't know if I'm some kind of tough guy or I'm just numb. Um, I find some survival horror games still scary. Like I thought there's some parts of Resident Evil Village that are really scary. I thought Resident Evil 7's a pretty scary game. I'm not like gonna poop my pants or something, but they're at least fun with their scariness. But playing Dead Space, I'm playing that like I'd play, I don't know, Uncharted or like Mario, where like my heart rate's not raised at all. I'm not really tense. I'm just having a good time. I think part of it is that you can kind of learn their tricks. Obviously, there's the classic survival horror of like, oh no, I'm in a room. I haven't seen any villains for a while. I haven't seen any creatures for a while. Freakers, as they were called in Days Gone. I haven't seen any of these guys in a while. Oh, I'm in a room now where there's a ton of items they're going to give me. I wonder what's going to happen next. A bunch of ammo, a bunch of health. Oh, here we go. I'm getting ambushed. Or like Dead Space kind of has their trick where it's like, uh-oh, here comes a guy here. Oh, I bet there's one behind me now too. Yep, there's one behind me now too. So it's a little predictable in that. So I don't think this game is necessarily very scary, but I think it's still a really well done game. Great to explore. I don't know, it has a great flow to it where you're just kind of, it's almost like that 3D Metroidvania style where it's like you're just kind of going places and you're, going back and forth, going to these places. It's not exactly linear, but you can make it as linear you want to because of the way that you can follow the marker and everything. And this game has some side quests and stuff like that too. The remake does, which kind of make it interesting. It's something I found interesting was in the original game, the main character Isaac does not talk at all. He's a completely silent protagonist. And I haven't played Dead Space 2. I know they changed that though, where he talks in that game. But this game, he talks from the get go. And I was a little bit worried about that just because I was like, are they going to make him one of these characters who talks to himself, or it's like Lara Croft or like, what's his name? Kratos' son, when you're playing as him in Ragnarok, where they're like talking to themselves, being like, well, that just happened. Or they'll be like, yeah, I'm just doing this. Did I just move that with my freaking mind? Like, are they going to make him, no, none of these characters, by the way, are more as annoying as the Forspoken character, but you know what I'm saying. Like, I hate that. I hate that in games when characters are talking to themselves constantly, because I feel like they feel, what do they feel like the gamers can't like handle dead space, dead air. So yeah, he talks. You know, sparingly. When he gets called up on his thing, you got that talking there, so that's good. You get some dialogue there, and this kind of progresses the story forward. He talks when you like run out of ammo and he's like, piece of crap or something, which I like that, but it's still sparingly. So I think it works quite a bit, and it also, I feel like it just fleshes out the story a lot better. Um, when I played the original game, you can kind of get the gist of like the story from the original game, but I feel like I just kind of got it a lot better with him talking and the way they presented the story, which I feel is different in some ways. But I think this is just a really well done remake, and every kind of weak aspect of the first game was either removed or altered in some way to make just things much better for this one. And there, I still have some some qualms with this one. I don't think the boss battles are very good in this game. I don't know. I wasn't really a fan of them in the original, and I think they're better in this, but they're still not amazing by any means. So I'm not crazy about the boss battles. This game's a tiny bit buggy. Like, it's not bad, it's not unplayable, but I got some bugs. I got this weird bug that almost ruined my experience where every time I would load from my checkpoint, like my save point, I would get killed by some kind of creature that was not visible. Like, I don't know where this was coming from. I think it was like the character, the what's it? I don't remember what they're called. The enemy characters would like spawn in the ceiling and then kill me instantly. So every time I would die, then I would spawn back to the save point, and then I would just die instantly without being able to move. And I at that time I couldn't like load up any kind of auto save, and I was only saving on the one. I don't have PlayStation Plus currently because I just don't use it. So I didn't have cloud saves and stuff. So I was like, oh crap, this is bad. But I deleted the game, reinstalled it, and then an update reinstalled with it that I didn't have. So I could have probably just updated it. That and then let me do an auto save. I don't know how it worked, but it saved me from I went back like 3 minutes in the game, and it saved me from having to restart in like the fifth chapter. So a little bit of an annoying bug. Some other like kind of small little things. It's not like broken or anything, but it was a little bit buggy. But if you can get past that, which I think is pretty easy, I think this is a great game. I think it's worth $70. It took me about 10 hours to complete, but it's just such a well-made game. And EA, I'm not really an EA hater. I'm just kind of indifferent to EA for the most part. They don't make anything that's for me, really. I don't care about sports games. I don't care about like, I don't know, Battlefield or whatever. So I kind of want to just show EA like, yeah, this is what I'm looking for. My one sale doesn't really mean much, but I kind of want to like, if you're interested in survival horror, if you're interested in Dead Space, like, show EA this is what we're looking for. We're not looking for, God, I don't know what, whatever 10th battle royale game they want to make, or 28th, games as a service game they want to make. So really great game, really great games to start out January. I really feel like we just got some bangers, as the kids say these days. This start out the January. I know we got Forspoken, which wasn't exactly a home run, but they got the ports of Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden. A lot of great stuff. I know the new SpongeBob game is supposed to be pretty good. I'd like to play that soon. But as far as that goes, let me know down in the comments below what you've been playing lately, any new games you've picked up and what you think, or if you've just been hitting the backlog up this month, what you've been playing. Let me know down in the comments below. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Follow me on Twitter at ObjoGaming. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. It really helps out a lot. And until next time, I'd like to thank you for watching.